So right now, a lot of my patients and clients are really trying to exit survival mode. It has been a very stressful time. It continues to be a stressful time for a lot of us. But now, so many of us are kind of waking up and realizing that we need to heal our nervous system. And in order to do so, I have found there are a few toxic habits that you really need to get rid of. So let's talk about it. Let's dive in. If you are new here, my name is Dr. Jessica. I'm a naturopathic doctor, acupuncturist, and health coach. And online, I really try to help support my clients who are going through stressful times. And I do that using a holistic naturopathic approach. A big thing I have found in trying to get out of what I call survival mode, which is where your sympathetic nervous system is probably stuck in that fight or flight or even freeze type mode. Your nervous system can be set off by any little thing. A lot of times you're very fatigued. You may have difficulty sleeping. Anxiety may be through the roof. All of these types of symptoms may pop up during this time. And I find that, yes, there are a lot of ways to deal with this, but one of the most important things is to really look at some of your habits and some things that are perpetuating that type of nervous system response. And this one is often really hard to do, but it's one of the things that can bring you the most relief. And that is really evaluating your thoughts and cleaning up a lot of the negative thoughts and patterns that you have. A lot of times what we don't realize when we are going through it is that we're also having the same thoughts over and over and over again. And usually they are rarely helpful. They're usually the negative self-talk, the this will never change, I don't know how to get out of this, what am I gonna do? There's no way out, I'll never make the money, I'll never find the partner, I'll never heal myself, etc., etc. And not only are those thoughts not serving you, they're also hindering you from living in a new reality or living in the life that you want to get to. So one of the things I often recommend that we do is to use practices that help us become aware of these thoughts, because most of us are not even aware. They're just playing on repeat in the background and we're wondering why we're still stuck in this kind of negative space. So a great way to not only bring awareness to these stories that you're telling yourself and these habitual thoughts is to do something like meditation, because as you sit and you block out all your other distractions, it's going to bring to the surface all the things that you've been thinking about subconsciously. And then this way we get to kind of bring them up to the surface so that we can then process them and deal with them. And then really begin to ask ourselves, is that actually true? Because that's really where the magic is. Once you've identified some of these thoughts, then we're able to go to the next step and really start to change them. Another great way in bringing awareness would be something like journaling. Again, just having maybe just a few minutes each day where you can have a flow of consciousness and just write things out. Write out what you're feeling and then actually evaluate it and then ask yourself, what thoughts in here are true? What is untrue? Another method I have personally used would be to set an alarm, and depending on how stuck you are or how bad things are, I actually set a little timer on my watch for every hour, and every hour I would just take like 30 seconds and just check in and say, okay, well, what have I been thinking? What have I been replaying? What was I just thinking right now? Was it even true? And it didn't matter if I was at work or if I was at home, but this was a great way for me to bring awareness to the thoughts that were playing over and over in my head. And let me tell you, it's not pretty, and sometimes it's hard work, but we've gotten so conditioned to the thoughts that we're playing over and over and the negative self-talk and the stories that we're telling ourselves that sometimes we forget to actually question them. So things like the journaling, the meditation, the setting of alarms are all ways to break that constant stream of negative self-talk. Another tool that I often utilize when breaking through with the mindset is actually breath work. And this one is important because there are different types of breathwork activities. There's box breathing, there's, more of a Wim Hof style breathing. There are many different ways in which we can perform breathwork that will actually begin to alter our nervous system. There are breathing methods for pushing more into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is really what we want to do here. The relax and rest and digest, versus the sympathetic nervous system, which is more activating. When we are able to tap more into the parasympathetic nervous system, we're able to, again, calm down that train of thoughts we've been playing over and over, and we're able to access another way of thinking. So really focusing on different breathwork patterns. I'll have a link to a number of breathwork videos I will leave down in the description box if you want to check those out. And another way in getting control of those thoughts you're playing over and over again is to maybe do a little bit of a dopamine detox. Now, I have another video all about a dopamine detox, what it means, what what's happening in your brain, what you're doing, and ways to do that. Again, I will leave it down in the description box below. But one of the important things I think about in approaching something like a dopamine detox is that we're thinking about, what are we actually consuming? What are you taking in all the time? Are you watching the endless cycle on the news? Turn it off. Please do yourself a favor and turn it off, because it's not helping you. It's a lot of negativity, it's a lot of back and forth, a lot of division, and it just feeds into that feeling of anxiety. Are you doom scrolling and just sitting there on Instagram or TikTok, just scrolling, looking for something, and you don't even know what you're looking for? And next thing you know, an hour has gone by. Breaking this pattern and actually breaking that pleasure reward system is another way to really realize what you're taking in, realize the thoughts you're having behind it, if you're having any at all, and to really take measure of what is serving you and what is not serving you. So just to recap, when thinking about exiting survival mode, one thing we really need to focus on is our mindset. So these are all things to bring awareness to those thoughts, because we can't change it if we're actually not even aware of what's happening. So things like meditation, things like setting an alarm, things like journaling, things like breath work, and even going on a little bit of a dopamine or maybe social media detox is also all going to be helpful in bringing awareness to the negative self-talk. And in that way, you're going to be more mentally prepared to exit out of survival mode. We're going to push that nervous system back into the parasympathetic state so that you can actually relax and you can start to retrain your brain and your body into that state of being where you want to be. So again, my job is always to empower you with the tools that you need to live your best life and live it in a healthy and natural way. So if you have any questions, as always, leave them down below. I will do a part 2 on other supportive practices outside of mindset. So make sure you're subscribed so you can check that video out when it comes out. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.